PodJerky, bringing you an audio experience the likes of which you've never heard before.
PodJerky.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of PodJerky. I am your host, Direktor Awesome, joined once again by my lovely wife, Mrs. Awesome. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Okay, so last week we did an episode on Children of the Underground. We're going to continue our little three-part series of our documentary review. This one is going to be on Running with the Devil. This one was actually a kind of a movie, I guess. It wasn't like a series. And this one we just came across on Netflix, and we're just like, hey, you know what? The trailer seems pretty interesting. Let's see what this is about. So this has to do with John McAfee or McAfee.
I still think is McAfee, basically.
Right. That's what Mrs. Awesome calls it. But he was the founder, of course, of McAfee Antivirus. And the whole story revolves around the murder of his neighbor and them thinking that he had committed this murder. And this was done in Belize. Now, we get started, I guess, with this documentary, which this really creeps me out, but doesn't surprise me, where he says that his antivirus program was created because this has a whole tie into the entire documentary that we're about to talk about. But his antivirus was created for the sole purpose to spy on everything. So he could spy on the CIA, he could spy on the FBI and the KGB. And he said he had secrets on everybody. And he also had secrets on like just the normal people out there. Like he would be able to listen in and watch your computers, and he would be able to do whatever he wanted based on this software. Now, he was a former software developer for NASA, I believe. Mm-hmm. I believe that's what he was. So he had all of this know-how on how to create these programs in order to spy on it, because I'm sure NASA has a lot of, technology to do certain things when you could be going to the moon and to Mars and stuff like that. So, so this whole documentary was based on this guy, very eccentric guy, very strange fella. That
he sounds exactly like the guy from The Staircase.
Yes, he does.
Close your eyes and listen to the both of them, and they sound like the same person.
And we're talking about the documentary, The Staircase, not the TV series, The Staircase. But yeah, he was this really strange guy, who the documentary starts out with, him being in Belize. He was living in Belize with his girlfriend at the time. His neighbor gets murdered. Now, his neighbor had complained to the police over there that he was going to, get shot or killed or something by his neighbor. They brushed it off. They said nothing about it, didn't really, blink an eye to it. There's footage of this John McAfee like shooting guns out, and, again, we don't know if that's just, put in there to make it look like he's done certain things or whatever it is. But just this really, really strange guy. So the story takes place based on him fleeing Belize to try and get away from the police and the charges that might be laid against him. And this whole journey is taken with two guys from Vice TV. So Vice TV had a reporter and a cameraman. The cameraman seemed a little strange as well. However, this guy, we've come to find out later,
have a great friendship.
Right. But we come to find out later on down the road that he was a cameraman for 30 years who has been to all these wars. He's seen a whole bunch of things like in his lifetime, taken some amazing photos over time. Not that it has anything to do with the story here, but he ends up filming I guess, his getaway from Belize, and we go from there. What are your thoughts on this documentary?
He is just odd. I don't know what other nice word to use. He's odd. And it was an odd story. Like, it was almost like watching raw footage of just the cameraman and his time together. Like, the one thing I will say is there's not a ton of, it didn't feel like a ton of storytelling around it. It was just a lot of following him and listening to his insane rants, like just insane rants sometimes around, he truly believed that people were following him, that people were out to get him. And I don't know. He was an odd man.
Well, you have to think, like, he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, if not in the billions, just from this whole software program, the McAfee antivirus. He had money, he had guns, and he had drugs at his disposal, which he was using regularly. His whole thing is that he was being targeted by White House officials, by the FBI, by the CIA, by the drug cartels, like, so the Cali cartel, the Sinaloa cartel. Yeah. They were all after him because he had secrets on them. So now you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, is this guy for real? Like, is he really does he really have all of these secrets? And we don't know. He may have. I mean, but the way it came across.
But they also said through it, they'd never proven, they could not find any documentation or proof that there were threats made against him.
Right. Right. But I don't think that they would come out to say, oh, the White House threatened him or the CIA.
No, I get that part. But like, it's not like there was any documentation saying that we're looking for you or you're under arrest.
No.
Not yet anyway. That comes later, but
no, nothing like that. Well, I guess, so this is going to be an important part of the story as well. He did go online and this, or on video or whatever it was, and did say, I've never paid taxes in my life, and I never will pay taxes in my life. This is something I will never do. They will never get my money. That plays an important factor later on down the road in the documentary. It's about an hour and 45 minutes long, so it's not a really long one. So
odd.
We go. So we're gonna move to they had to escape Belize, right? Mm-hmm. They go into Guatemala illegally. So they make it to Guatemala on a boat, on his yacht or whatever he has there. They make it to Guatemala illegally. They come aboard, land, and I guess they're arrested there. Once they're arrested there, they call for the girlfriend's uncle, who used to be the assistant or the attorney general in Guatemala. He's retired, I guess, or he's not in power anymore, but he has a lot of pull with a lot of people. So he tries to get him to not send him back to Belize. He tries to get him to represent him, I guess. While he's in jail in Guatemala, he fakes a heart attack.
Yeah.
He fakes this heart attack so that he doesn't get sent back to Belize to maybe stand trial or be charged with the neighbor's murder. So at first you don't know that he had faked this heart attack. They just show him on the stretcher. They show the video of it. The videographer obviously is covering all of this stuff. So it's not something that but you find out later on that it was a faked heart attack. And that he did this all just so that he got out of the whole Belize thing. Later on down the road, like you find out all of these stories. Okay, so his girlfriend now isn't part of it, but she's being interviewed the entire time. So she's telling her part of the story the entire time. He's now got another girlfriend, I believe.
A wife. He married her.
So yeah, he ends up marrying the girl. But later on down the road, he's arrested in Spain. He gets arrested in Spain for his tax evasion, I think,
in the US.
And he was going to be extradited to the US, I guess at the request of the US for all of this. I guess he ran his mouth too much, where I guess officials over there had said, okay, enough's enough, and we're going to pick up this guy. He did have a warrant, I believe, for his arrest. Anyway,
yes,
so they were going to extradite him. So he goes and he pleads his case to the judge in Spain on video. I guess this was during COVID anyways. Yeah. So he had to do this on a video conference. He pleads his case to the judge and says, please, if you send me back over there, it's either lifetime in prison or a death sentence for me, basically. And then again, I don't know how many days later, but it was just before his extradition, they find him dead in his jail cell. Theories is that he is, one, either he was murdered in jail, two, he committed suicide, and three, the interesting part at the end of the documentary, his ex-girlfriend said she got a text message from him. I don't remember what the final words were, but he's
in Texas. And will you marry me? I think was what it was.
And that was, her thoughts on it were, he had the money to pay off the officials in Spain to just let him go and carry out a body bag. Nobody saw footage. Nobody saw the body. Nobody saw any of this. Again, does this just create conspiracy theories? Of course. Is he dead? We have no idea.
There was a comparison to Epstein's murder,
right?
/ suicide,
right? And that's what people were thinking.
Suicide, right?
Yeah, they claimed that it was suicide. However, they're saying that it was. They claimed that it was suicide. Some people are saying that it was. He got murdered in jail. But again, he may still be alive and be out there walking around.
I freaking hope not.
We have no idea. However, okay, this one is an absolute, and this is going to be a precursor to our next review on next week's episode. Train wreck. This was a complete train wreck of a documentary.
Yeah,
it was all over the place. It was all over the place.
Yeah, no offense to the documentary filmmakers who made it, but it was, one, very hard to follow. Two, the footage was just, it was like having a dash cam attached to you through the whole entire thing. And I feel, though, although you got a lot of the story out of watching it, I still don't think it was a well-told story.
I know.
There's just a lot of this narcissistic ranting.
Right. And I don't know if I cared enough. I did not care enough about the story to have
agreed.
To pay attention to that full story. It was
you and I were both like distracted while watching it. And like you picked up on more of it than I did. And it was tough. Well, it just wasn't told well, although you learned a lot. It just wasn't a well-told story in my opinion. Yeah,
but so my whole thing is that, okay, if there was a story to it where, the cartel were after him or the CIA were after him or whoever it was that were after him, and it was legit that they were after him and they had proof of this and there was documentation of this, then it would become much more interesting. Whereas this was all hearsay of, this was this guy who's just out there saying that they're after him. It's just his opinion. Right. And there's no proof of it. So you never find out, like you leave at the end of it feeling empty. Like, why did I just watch that? What was the point of watching that documentary where there was nothing really?
Fed his ego, his narcissistic behavior. He just,
Yeah, it was just a strange one. So it wasn't.
There you go, guys. You got your 15-minute recap. You don't actually have to watch this one, is what I would say.
I mean, it's only an hour and 45 minutes, so you're not really, you can.
But you're also not missing much. You could probably read it on Wikipedia.
You can play on your phone and watch it in the background and just listen for certain things. And again, it was just.
You want to see an old guy losing his shit? This is the right documentary for you.
Yeah, and it's not
great.
For me, it wasn't a recommendation.
No.
Probably skip this one if you wanted to. Again, nothing on the filmmakers, nothing on the guys who made this or, all the people involved making it. It was just not our cup of tea. Right.
Cool.
Yes.
Look at that. Jinx, you owe me beer.
So yeah. So we'll wrap this episode up. Like I said, this is part 2 of a 3-parter of some documentary reviews. We'll get into our next one next week, which we'll be doing on Trainwreck. And I guess we'll go from there on number 3. So tune in next week to find out what we thought about Trainwreck. You can always find PodJerky on Instagram and Twitter at PodJerky. You can also find us on our link tree. That's linktr.ee/PodJerky. I am Direktor Awesome for Mrs. Awesome. As always, stay safe, be kind to each other, and we will see you later.
Here we go now. Play that beat.
PodJerky.